Story number 4. Mixed feelings about healthcare. We watched this in the debate, and you saw the all of the hospitality go out of the room when they got on the issue of healthcare. And we see Bernie Sanders, one of the advocates of healthcare, says he wrote the bill, and there's deep division in the healthcare debate. You can see it. There was some stories that surfaced in relating to this topic. Talks about how the appeals court rules that the VA must now pay vets ER bills at non-VA hospitals. The saddest part about healthcare is that there's been a lot of damage done, and how to undo a lot of this damage. There was a story that made it that I came across, talked about how a veteran was being he basically died. His body was being just consumed by ants. So when you look at this story in its entirety, and you look at how much potential it has and how important it is that people stay healthy, and they try to find some way to take care of themselves. Healthcare is a big issue, and I don't think either party has actually grasped the concept of how important this issue is. There was even they're even talking about how they're worried about how China may have more control of our drug market. Folks, when you try to be a team player across the globe, it's very scary. Even in a marriage, trust can be very, very scary. I think even the story, even some religious stories about how God and the devil are brothers. You look at these stories, these people, people often think that writers are stupid. I'm sure that the writers who wrote most of the text, the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, these writers were trying to send you a valuable message. Even in Egyptology, I'm sure they're trying to tell you something. Even in Egyptology and ancient Kemet, it teaches you that good and evil are not only equal, but the devil well, they don't call the devil in Egyptology. There's basically Osiris and I think it's Osiris and Seth basically had equal power. They were equally matched. And if you look at story number 4, when it talks about healthcare, and you look at what people are talking about in this story, there's a lot going on in this relationship between the right and the left. The thing is that no matter where you get, there will be a lock. There will be an even score. That's why you have to balance things out. And I think by giving the healthcare providers, or the person seeking health care, I think you give them the option of choosing how they want to treat their body, and then showing them, then they will see the consequences. When a woman wants health care and she wants to have an abortion, that's what makes it scary, because of the fact that she is not only stopping life from coming into the world, but she's also taking the responsibility of what could happen if she is, what the consequences could be. Her child could have been the child that found the cure for every disease known to man. And that's what makes democracy in a representative republic so very scary, because we have that option and we have that choice. I choose to better myself. I choose to stay informed. I choose to read books. I sacrifice my time for the betterment. Some people don't think like that, and that's why story number 4 has a lot of ability. Hepatitis A outbreak in Colorado kills 1. And people want answers about why some veterans are still dying. That was another story that surfaced in. Appeal court rules that the VA, I think I touched on this a little bit, how they're talking about paying bills, and how the VA has to start paying the bills of some veteran. I have to keep this story understood, because these what you're seeing, these new laws have never been in the code of there's never been laws like this before, where the VA, where the government says that if a veteran goes to another hospital, that the VA has to pay for it. That's what's unique, and that's what's starting to make health. You're starting to see the healthcare system, even when you look at the Great Society. we're seeing an evolution in ideas of how to care for those who contribute to this great representative democracy that we live in. Appeals court is basically making a lot of decisions about not only veterans but even with immigration. They're even talking about how some immigrants won't seeking asylum won't be able to. There's a seesaw battle even when you talk about immigration and who gets medical treatment. Number of uninsured Americans rise for the first time in a decade. So this is very scary. We saw people coming together with the Affordable Care Act. Now we're starting to see that people are starting to not get health care, which is very scary. Study shows that a lot of people are now hooked on prescription drugs, says health chief. It was a report talking about how, I guess, patients, they're talking about how the hospitals were suing patients because they weren't paying their bills, taking their homes, taking their paychecks. Folks, this is a big story, and these stories this week that made it in, I see them gaining a lot of steam. And story number 4, when they're talking about how hospitals have aggressively been pursuing healthcare people who haven't been paying for their healthcare bills. Folks, this is serious. Do you know how many people out there probably have medical bills that they haven't paid, and when they reach the collection agency, what happens? That's why story number 4 has the potential. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West, where it's my duty every week to go through story after story to give you the top 8. Constantly remind you that I'm just a mediator. I stay in the middle, navigating the news just for you. When I was a kid, the prophets told me, they told me that I was born to mediate. All of the wise men and little children sat around, and I told them a story, and they looked at me and they said, there's something special about this one. We'll give them the strength of 10 prophets, 10 mediator, turn him into something greater than what he is. And I was given the power to mediate. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If I'm BSing around, then I wouldn't be telling you what you need to hear, and that's to be informed. Constantly remind that I'm just a mediator. I'm just kidding. I'm just a mediator. The news journalists and outlets and the people on the front line deserve all the credit. I just do the dirty work of reading through all of their stories and navigating the news just for you to help out. So if you want to be a contributor, help out anyway. Doesn't take much. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. I'm here to save the day. All you have to do, once again, is buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program if you want to help out. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Big help.
Now send down your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.